Look, we said that basically general relativity is this angle of this object. Let's say if we have a light source and we see the shadow of this object on the wall, what we see is general relativity, and if we see it from this side, we see quantum physics. That's why they are incompatible, and that's why they never can be compatible with this current approach. At this current approach, scientists they are trying to match quantum physics and general relativity with some changes in this or that. The thing is, this side, as you can see, is totally incompatible with this side. The more you try, the more you fail, and the more questions it will create. Because you cannot just basically connect this side and explain this side with it. These are different sides of the same objective view. Now, what we are trying to achieve is this. We are trying to bring back the logic to physics. So, for example, in Copenhagen interpretation in quantum physics, it says something, it is in the several places at the same time. This is questioning the logic. And for sure, because the math is right, we say, okay, it's working because the math is right. But that's creating very fundamental questions about gravity. Now, if we have one object or one electron or one proton in several places at the same time, then what happens to gravity? Affecting all of these several basically protons at the same time. Therefore, what we want to achieve, we want to bring back logic to both general relativity and quantum physics by interpretation, by different interpretation about this. So basically, we are going to actually define a new layer under both of these shadows and define what is the same thing, same object, same subject that is creating both physics. And for sure, that should predict all of the effects. I mean all of the effects and all of the predictions of the quantum physics and general relativity. So we started with general relativity and we predicted all. We predicted, we explained gravity in a very logical way. We explained basically in a logical way and with the same predictions as general relativity. We explained time dilation, both in gravity field, gravity, and also in high speed or acceleration. We explained basically length contraction, like exactly like what it explained in the special relativity. And what else we explained? Like we explained almost all of the predictions. Gravity wave, we explained it. We can explain black holes. All of the predictions of general relativity are predictable in this theory as well, with some additions and some changes. For example, in black hole, we are not facing infinity, because infinity is illogical. Look, we are talking about two illogical, very good examples of illogical interpretations in this shadow world. This shadow world, for sure, it will have some illogical things because it's shadow. For example, let's say if I have a shadow here and this shadow are actually getting bigger and smaller, it is illogical. And I cannot explain it because I'm just talking about the shadow. I'm not talking about this. If I talk about this and light source, then I can explain that. Now, two questions, big questions, infinity in black holes, in general relativity, which is a big issue, big problem. It faces infinity, the equations face infinity. It is illogical. What infinity means? And for example, in quantum physics, we have several we have same particle at several places at the same time. Again, this is totally illogical. For sure, the formula works because we created a formula for that shadow. You understand? We created a formula for that shadow and that is working. But at a certain point, it's not working, it will break. For example, in quantum physics, in double slit like quantum eraser, the whole quantum physics goes under question, a full question. And no one can answer it because you are explaining this shadow and just imagine, just see for example if you have this shadow and then I change the angle like this. What will happen? All of your equations will be destroyed. All of your explanation, interpretations will be useless because this is something that you cannot explain with the old equation because you just calculated this one, not this one, right? Because it's the shadow, you did not calculate the object, you calculated just the shadow. And then quantum eraser thing will question the whole quantum physics. Black hole infinity will question the whole general relativity because you calculated a shadow perfectly, but it is a shadow. So we are defining a new physics, Fabrica physics, to explain both physics with same predictions. We are not questioning any, it's not gonna actually question any of the predictions of these shadows, the same. But at the same time, we can interpret both logically. Again, bringing back logic to physics. So we are not going to accept what general relativity says about infinity in black holes. We are not going to accept it because infinity doesn't make sense. We are not going to accept it. We are not going to accept what quantum physics says about same particle at several places. Because again, it is questioning the logic. What is questioning? For sure, what happens to gravity? Of affecting the particles at several places at the same time, right? So this is our new definition, and whatever we say, it should have, again, have a very clear explanation and logic behind that, not just equations. Not just formulas, but logic. So if we are explaining it for a, let's say, 15 years old high school kid, he can understand how universe works. Because you never can explain Copenhagen interpretation for a 15 years old kid. You should be so much into math and also so much into quantum physics to understand it. And somehow understand it. You will accept it because the king is naked. If you say something, they will question you. You did not understand the quantum physics. Therefore, you cannot understand the logic behind it. That is the question mark that they put on everyone who questions Copenhagen interpretation. No, we can question it and we can come up with more logical explanation, but with a similar type of predictions. Okay, thank you.